Men, when was the last time you broke down crying? I was literally freezing outside on Christmas Eve, and the only place I could warm up was a cafe I saw. I asked them for the hottest coffee they could make, but while I was finally starting to feel my fingers again, I heard the manager yelling, "You're not welcome here if you're not buying anything," at this young girl at the door, maybe 16 or 17. She was holding a small blanket, looking broken, just trying to stay warm. The manager just stood there with his arms crossed watching her leave, and she walked back outside while everyone in the cafe went back to their conversations like nothing happened. I couldn't believe it. I watched through the window as she found a spot against the building, squatting down and pulling her blanket towards her chest. Everyone just walked past her. I knew I wasn't letting this happen, so I got up to go check on her. When I got outside, the wind hit me like a slap, and she was hunched over whatever she was holding, rocking it gently back and forth. However, as I got closer, I could hear her whispering something, and that's when I saw it move under the blanket. It was a baby. I couldn't believe it. I knelt down next to her and said, "Hey, are you okay?" But she just nodded her head. I could see how stressed out she was, because she probably had nowhere to go. "Come inside with me. I'll buy you whatever you want. You can come warm up." When she heard that, she looked up at me, and her face completely lit up. When she walked back inside behind me, the manager immediately walked over to us saying, "What are you doing?" I told her to leave. She's scaring away customers, but I just put my hand up. I pulled out my wallet and said, "And I'm telling you she's my guest. I'm buying. Plus, you know she's holding a baby, right?" When I said that, I could tell he knew he couldn't say anything and just stood there staring. I made sure she got the warmest hot chocolate she could and found a spot for her to sit. I sat down across from her, watching her absolutely inhale her croissant. She must have been starving. When she finally slowed down, I asked her what happened, how she ended up out here. Her name was Nancy. She was 15 years old, and when she found out she was pregnant, she was terrified her parents would disown her. She was sure they'd kick her out, so she did what she thought was her only option. She stole $3,000 from her mom's emergency fund and left home. She'd been gone almost a year, had the baby 2 months ago in a shelter, and they'd been moving around since then because she couldn't go to most places with a baby, and the shelters were always full. My mom would never let me back, not after what I did, not after stealing from her and disappearing. Something about the way she said it, like she was trying to convince herself more than me. "What did you say your last name was?" And as soon as she told me, I looked it up. Missing person. Her parents had been searching for her everywhere, even offering awards to find their daughter. They gave up a year ago. I immediately knew what this was. "Have you tried calling her?" She shook her head, saying she couldn't, that her mom probably hated her, but I asked, "What if she doesn't? What if she's been looking for you this whole time?" I pulled out my phone and held it out to her, saying, "Just try. It's Christmas Eve. If there's ever a time to try, it's now." Her hands shook as she took the phone and dialed slowly, like she was scared each number might be wrong. I could hear the ringing from where I sat. Then, "Hello?" I gently took the phone and introduced myself, explained where I was and who I was with, and there was complete deafening silence on the other end until I heard it. She was sobbing, didn't say anything, just started crying. Her mom then finally said, "Is she okay? Is my baby okay?" I told her she was okay, and I handed the phone to the girl. The moment she heard her mother's voice, she broke down completely. They were both crying so hard they could barely speak. Then I realized it had been a year. Her mom didn't even know about the baby. She had no idea she was a grandmother. I forgot about my shift entirely, didn't even care that it was Christmas Eve. I just loaded them into my truck and started driving the 2 hours to her hometown while she sang to her baby that they were going home and no more sleeping in the cold shelters. When we pulled up to the house, her mom was already outside waiting in the doorway despite the cold. They were both holding back their tears until they collapsed into each other in the driveway, both sobbing, holding on like they were afraid to let go. I started crying as well because on Christmas Eve, her mom welcomed Nancy back into their home and met their new grandson.